beautiful people. Today I have a video. I'm so excited to film it. Some of you might already know from the comments, but I passed my comp.
Electric lady, you're a star.
Yes, I did it. I passed my last comp exam. A comprehensive exam is an examination on a particular subsection or a field of study within a discipline. So for instance, in sociology, a comprehensive exam can cover a body of literature about gender, the family, social theory. My other comprehensive exam was on race, ethnicity, and immigration, and I took that a year and a half ago. The reading list is what the questions on the exam will be based from. It is over a period of 48 hours, and you have to select from a number of different questions, and you just type up the responses, and it obviously is open book, but it is a big deal. If you fail it, I assume you get an opportunity to take it again. I don't know, because I never failed it. It's another hurdle that will lead you to getting the coveted PhD. My second comprehensive exam that I took at the very beginning of February was on the topic of intersectionality. I want my dissertation to have an intersectional approach, and so I thought that it would be best for me. Actually, my advisors thought that the best decision for me would be to compile a reading list that was focused on intersectionality so I could become an expert on this area. And I do have to say, I feel very confident that I do have expertise in intersectionality. And I have to tell y'all, a lot of people don't actually understand intersectionality, what it really means, and how to do it, how to engage with it. That's a video for a different day. I passed it. It ended up being 30 pages, and I had 2 questions that I had to answer. I conquered the comp. So I am almost ABD. ABD means all but dissertation. So once I propose my dissertation proposal and it is accepted, then I will be able to go off and do my field work. So I'm one step closer to being Dr. Moss, Dr. Scholar Noire, perhaps. Y'all know I love listicles and such. So I'm gonna kind of break it down into the 5 ways that I conquered the comp. Make a schedule. As y'all know, I'm a big schedule person. I'm a planner person. She just saw a bird, so you know, we're gonna let her do her thing. That's her thing. My thing is academia, and her thing is chasing birds. I first had my list approved. I had about 60 books and articles on my list from which my exam questions would be derived. I sat down and I wrote out every day, this is how many books and articles that I need to read in order to finish by this date. I wanted to finish everything by mid-January so that I would have 2 weeks to kind of go back over everything, write out some potential questions, write out potential answers, and just be super over prepared. Of course, life happened and that didn't end up happening. I ended up finishing all of my books and articles about 3 days before the exam, and it ended up fine because I was still able to synthesize things and write out some possible questions and critiques that I had of the literature itself. But that's okay. The schedule was super helpful. Every day when I woke up, I would look up and say, okay, I have to read Dorothy Roberts today. I have to read whoever today. And so as y'all saw in my vlogs, I would be at the Graduate Student Center for hours. Sometimes I would be there for 10, 11, I think 12 hours was my longest day, but it was immensely helpful in helping me stay on track because you have other things going on in your life. You want to try to get in some exercise, hanging out with people, errands. Unfortunately, we have to do things like run errands. We have to cook food and make time for other things. So making a schedule was the best idea that I had to help me succeed in passing this comprehensive exam, and I would recommend it to you. So sit down, look at your list, look at how much you have to read, how much time does it take you to read, figure it out and get it done. The second thing that I would advise is be methodical in taking notes on what you're reading. As I showed in one of my vlogs, I have a kind of sample note page for every book an article that I read. So it would be the research questions, the methods, what is the main argument, what are some of the key takeaways, and what is the theoretical contribution, the so what of this book or article, and then my critiques. Because again, as I've mentioned in different videos, part of becoming a scholar is being able to assert your own ideas about what is missing from that person's argument. And then another thing that I did was actually an intersectionality page, because that was the topic of all of the readings that I had. And so some of the books and articles weren't explicitly about intersectionality. One that I read that was particularly compelling was Evicted by Matthew Desmond. He doesn't even mention the word intersectionality, and yet the core of his findings were that poor Black women with children were the most affected and impacted negatively by eviction in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, right? So even though he didn't use an intersectional framework, I was able to write about how the structures of racism and sexism and capitalism were coming together to create a system in which Black women with children in particular were the most affected by it. And something else that that book argues that is a core tenet of intersectionality is that structures impact the agency of what individuals do. He argues pretty much irrespective of the actions that the people took in their own individual lives, they were going to fall behind. They simply did not have the money to pay their rent. No matter what they did, something would come up, be it a medical bill, be it being evicted because their child has an asthma attack, and that draws attention to the apartment building and the landlord's angry at them. And the larger structure of eviction is going to cause people who are impoverished to be evicted. So be methodical when you're taking notes. Don't just highlight things and put in quotes. Write out the key concepts and arguments and what you agree with and disagree with of each part, and that is going to help you to succeed. My third tip is reward yourself. You are a human being. You are not a human doing. Regardless of what academia and sociology and our society would have us believe, the most important facet of who you are is not what you do. It's simply that you are, that you exist, that you have possibility, that you have dreams, that you're moving toward, and you need to reward yourself. Self-care was a big part of what I did. I made sure that I took time out to do things that made me happy, to do things that brought me joy, to do things that were restorative to my mind and my body and my soul. Sometimes what that would mean was taking the day off from studying. So for instance, I had a plan on inauguration day to study. I realized the day before inauguration day, what was I thinking? This was a very painful and stressful day for me. So what I did to take care of myself was I sat down and I filmed 3 videos for y'all. Y'all know where I'm wearing that white dress. I filmed all 3 of those videos on inauguration day because I needed to take a break. So reward yourself. Here's some other things that I did. As you know, meditation is a big part of my routine. Talking and spending time with friends and family, journaling, reading for pleasure. TV, I love TV. Everybody who knows me knows I'm a pop culture junkie. I love music. I listen to a lot of SoundCloud. I bought Kehlani tickets. I got into Roxane Gay, amazing writer. I cooked for myself. I made time for myself. I did some exercising. All of these things, whatever it is for you that you need to do to take care of yourself, make sure that that's part of your schedule and your routine. Getting sleep, drinking water. Hey, if you're bougie, and bad, and you like put Perrier, drink your Perrier. Be flexible. Life happens. Things come up. You might have to change your initial plan, and that's okay. Instead of resisting it, just accept it. So if you fall behind, and I did fall behind, and I shared some of that in my vlogs, it's all right. Just keep moving forward. Progress is a process. Keep that larger goal in mind and don't stop believing in it. Gratitude is the next one. I am a person who loves writing thank you cards, handwritten thank you cards, and I like buying gifts. So I bought all of my advisors gifts to say thank you for helping me out and with their advice and their support. And I wrote thank you cards to about 10 people because during the course of studying, I actually applied to 2 fellowships as well, which was scheduled in. And so I was sending thank you cards overseas just because it's so important to be grateful to your tribe, the people who uplift you and support you and help you get to where you are. Because you're not in it alone. There are people out there who want to help you. So reach out and then find those people who support you and uplift you. Finally, believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. You are here. You are enough. You have enough. You can do it. I'm reading about Anna Julia Cooper, and I promise y'all I'm gonna make this video about Anna Julia Cooper, but I've been kind of busy. Anna Julia Cooper was the child of a slave and a slave master. She ended up getting a PhD. She wrote books. She was an activist. She was an educator. Nothing stopped her. This was during a time where she essentially had no rights. This woman was amazing. She was a brilliant woman. She was a theorist. She was an intellect. She is one of the reasons that I created Scholar Noire, because Black female scholars have so much to offer to the world, and she was one of them. And she did not let her circumstances stop her. We need to be looking at the broader structures and the things that are affecting our own agency, but it starts with believing in yourself that you have the power to create change in your life and in the world around you. So believe in yourself. Visualize yourself succeeding. I did all of that, and so when those exam questions came to me and I opened that email, I just breathed and looked up and said thank you. I was ready. I was prepared. It was challenging because writing for that long, for 48 hours with just a few hours break, is hard, but I was prepared. I was ready, and I was so thankful. And when I was finished with that exam, I knew that I had passed. I knew it. And I literally was crying, and I just said, thank you, thank you, thank you. I had so much gratitude because this is just one more step in my journey. Yeah, I don't want to get emotional, but it was beautiful, and you can do it too. So those are my tips. I hope they're helpful. As always, if you have any specific questions, leave them in the comment box below or shoot me an email at scholarnoire@icloud.com. Subscribe to this video, give it a thumbs up, share it with a friend, follow me on Instagram. I'm trying to become more active on social media. You can conquer the comp. Woo! I'm gonna go get my crown. See? Peace. I am the queen of the comprehensive exam.
Is a temptation so
Should I wear this out? No.
It may
Too
be
much.
that
Okay. Well, take it.
holds the stars in the front of it.
That's what I feel in my heart.